Today, Denver Public School students are officially back in class. They are one of the last districts to start school.
Yeah, and with students being back in school, how do we keep them healthy throughout the school year? Well, here to explain more about this is our Dr. 9 health expert, Dr. Pyle Coley. Dr. Coley, good morning.
Good morning. Back to school already,
I know,
huh?
can you believe it? Someone went by.
Like that.
Really did. Yeah.
Bummer. Okay, what are some of the, truly for you, you talked
Preach,
about this a lot. What are the most common health issues for parents to think about, as their schools go back, or kids go back to school? Maybe I should go back to school, as their kids go back to school.
Well, it's so funny. We spend so much time thinking about school supplies and getting them ready and getting their clothes, but some of these health issues don't necessarily pop up on our radar. So one we've been talking about this morning, which is their vision. So especially for young kids, they may not necessarily tell you if they have vision issues. Head lice is another one you really ought to look out for, yes, because again, kindergarten and school-age kids don't know, but it's incredibly common. Bullying. Only 17% of kids that are bullied actually say something, especially our younger kids may not even know how to express themselves. So it's up to parents to really bring that out of them, which means every day after school asking them, how did school go? Was anyone mean to you? Did you have fun? Did anyone say anything that upset you? And then scoliosis, which is where our spine, as it's growing, starts to get a bit of an S shape. And you can see that with their shoulders being asymmetric or their hips being asymmetric. But that's another one of those conditions we really have to screen for early if we're going to change the trajectory of that disease.
Obviously, things are a little bit different for older kids and college-age students. What should you be looking out for there?
Yeah, so it's a whole different set of issues, actually, but vaccinations is a big one because as they're headed back to school, we've been talking about COVID-19 and the boosters may actually get green-lighted later this week is what we hear. So making sure that they're up to date on that, on their meningococcus vaccine because meningitis is big, you're living in close quarters. Talking about sexual health is a huge one. And your, college-age student may not necessarily bring that up to you, but it's really important for you to talk to them about it, especially now they have an at-home syphilis test. So just educating them about sexually transmitted diseases, how to practice safe sex. Substance use is another big one amongst college kids because we're smoking more marijuana, more cigarettes, we're drinking more alcohol, kind of talking to them about that. And then just about their social life and their screen time, because that's a huge source of anxiety for our college-going kids. Limiting the screen time and really planning out a social life because a lot of people go to college, get overwhelmed because they don't automatically have that social life in place, but trying to look for activities and clubs and such where you can create that.
Start small and then your circle gets just a little bit bigger. What should parents do to help get their kids, in the best shape to perform well physically and academically during the school year?
So this is really important, and they say actually starts before you go back to school. So about 2 weeks before you go back to school, you start to emulate school time routines. And this is one that was a bit of a surprise to me because a lot of kids take a bath right before bedtime, but the experts actually say do not give a warm bath right before bedtime and do not have a large meal right before bedtime. So usually what I tell parents is when the kids come home from school, give them a snack, give them a bath, have them do the playtime, have them do dinner, and then at least a couple hours before bedtime, make sure that they're not doing anything too stimulating. A bedtime story is a great way to get them to wind down, and make sure you time that bedtime so they're getting at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep because most of our kids are not sleeping that much because they're not strict about bedtimes.
It's crucial.
Everyone just kind of, is relaxed about things, during the summer. And now's the time you got to eat healthy.
Yes.
You got to get the sleep. You got to get back into routine because it's healthy for the whole family.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because they're saying 40% of kids aged 2 through 18 are eating too many processed foods.
Yeah.
So packing good lunches, making sure you get a dental checkup, you get their physicals, the back to school physicals is really important, and really sort of focusing on the whole body and mind to optimize them academically because that's really what they need.
All that good back to school stuff. All right, Dr. Coley, that was important. We appreciate it. Thank you. By the way, you can find all of Dr. Coley's appearances at 9news.com/Dr. Coley.